few minutes before I got to take off. I just recently heard a story about someone who, I don't know if it's that they wanted to become a reader or a subdeacon officially in the church, or I believe it was it was either that or they were withheld communion. They were withheld the Eucharist. The priest withheld the Eucharist, or he didn't make them a reader or a subdeacon. I forget which one it is. That person then, this is in the Orthodox Church, immediately went out and started getting into, after being celibate for a while, when he was active in the Orthodox Church, then went out and got into various BDSM relationships, or at least one, and it was, basically hardcore perverted sex relationships, Now, right there, that's the wisdom of the church, basically. Withholding the Eucharist isn't an act of, it's not a punishment at all. Withholding, I knew a guy who was perfect to be deacon. Perfect. This is my godfather I'm talking about. Perfect guy. He'd make a perfect priest. And the parish priest, who I very much liked, had him at subdeacon for years. He never got past subdeacon. And I don't know why that is. I'm like, I wish I would have made him deacon. But then you have to trust the wisdom of the church. Right? When we say we deserve, or I deserve this, now, we deserve, the Orthodox community deserves certain things. Proper worship, love, care, respect, all this kind of thing. But never individually is it we, is it me. It's, you're looking for that to be caring about the people around you. Never selfishly, never individually. And even when it's lacking there for you, it's not supposed to be there for you. It's that now you're there for it. Now you're there to combat the heresy, or to be the light, or to be the one who is more charitable. I don't like my parish because they never do charitable things. The problem and the solution there is you. I don't like my parish because they don't actively witness, to or teach, the Hispanic or Latino populations about orthodoxy. Do you speak Spanish? Maybe you should go out and learn. Maybe you should go out and talk to people about it actively. Never evangelizing. Remember this, never evangelizing, but just telling them there's another option besides this new wave papal Novus Ordo Catholicism. That these people naturally love liturgy and love Theotokos, and have respect and reverence for the saints and the cross and the calendar and the festivals. It falls at our feet. If there's anything lacking in your parish, these are things that you notice. Now it's because of you. Even if it's not because of you, you're the solution. And by not doing anything, by remaining there and not trying to do something, or saying, I'm praying about it, you're now part of the problem because you've already recognized it. And people always say, well, I always ask my priest what to do. That's how Roman Catholics treated their priests. And I don't know why. I think that's how we've gotten this, is because that's how Roman Catholics treated their priests. They ask them about every minute detail. In Orthodoxy, we have the canons and the creeds, and the priest is there for a reason, right? But who really runs the church? It's the grandmothers. I was just talking to somebody, they were laughing at it. It's the babushkas that run the church. I'm like, yes, it is. They're literally, in two ways, they're the fount of orthodoxy. They will preserve orthodoxy. I knew an old Bulgarian lady who was appalled when she saw a girl being brought to the altar and walked around, because in the States, the Antiochians said you either do it to both boy and girl or you don't do it to either of them. Walking them around the altar, which is not, doesn't, if you don't do it for a boy, it doesn't make the baptism void, It's just the special thing. And she was appalled when girls were brought in. I think rightly so, because there's there's a place, there's a reason why. It's not that men are better than women. I think women in the Orthodox Church know this fully, and that they are more recognized and more understood as co-equal, and even that is a cheapening of it. Their femininity is recognized and not played down or dumbed down in the Orthodox Church like it is. It's not like that in every other church. It's like that, but in the Orthodox Church, it's not dumbed down or insulted or it's not co-opted in this new weird Marxist social justice warrior crap. But they're the fount of orthodoxy in that way, and another way they are literally the fount of orthodoxy. It's through their wombs, it's through their birth canals that all Orthodox priests shall pass. Say converts, but even the convert respects and reveres his mother, and came from a mother. Theotokos, we say, is our favorite person. The only reason she's not listed as the last prophet of the Old Testament is because John came after her. She's a prophet. All generations shall call me blessed. Right? And she is the new Ark of the Covenant. And the ancient West got it right when they called, the Latins called her womb, I believe it's pronounced capax infinitum, the capacity for the infinite. That's why we have across over her, we have more spaces than the heavens, because that which the heavens could not contain was contained in her womb. So anytime you think, I deserve this, I deserve the Eucharist, I deserve this position, I deserve to be recognized for this. No. What do those people in front of you deserve? Or those people who are praying behind you deserve? What do they deserve as a group? Do they deserve a better, more loving parish? Oh, that's where you can help. No, that's where your thing is. This is why sacraments. There's either one sacrament, a multitude of sacraments, or no sacraments. So you have the Eucharist, but directly tied up with the Eucharist is chrismation and baptism. Chrismation and baptism are never not a part and parcel with each other. And baptism is never immediately, is not ever, how this is always followed by the Eucharist. That's the point. In the Eucharist, we recall our baptismal vows. That's why we say the Nicene Creed every time. In confession, we do, it's all tied up in that one thing. That's why I don't like hearing, and all the real Orthodox people get frustrated when they hear about the 7 Sacraments. Or people say, well, I heard this bishop write a book on it, or there's this book on it. No! The Orthodoxy is that which exists in the canons and the creeds, and those things intoned in our hymns and our worship service. That's the entirety of Orthodoxy. There's theologomena, antilegomena, there's these things, there's a way of rendering things, but of the Catholic belief of seven sacraments, is marriage a sacrament then? Would becoming a priest, would becoming a monk be a sacrament? Because if being married is, why isn't the monastic order? We have unction, we have all of these rituals, right? But the only thing that you could, by definition of the West, you could call sacrament is the Eucharist. And everything is tied up in that. Baptism, chrismation, baptized, chrismated, given the Eucharist within, an hour and a half, maybe at least 45 minutes. It's boom. We don't break them up. Well, it's even illogical. You get baptized, and then you have to wait to take the Eucharist. but you're taking the Eucharist, but you're not confirmed in the church. You're taking the Eucharist, and then after a while you make your first confession. And then you're confirmed in the church. That's, I mean, it's, at least it doesn't make sense, but it's totally depriving the individual. That being said, we're all priests in the church, and our priests aren't like Old Testament priests. We are that. And there's only one high priest, that's Christ. He's the presbyter. But, yeah, that's why there's either one, none, or an infinite amount. At least a multitude. Because there are many ways. I mean, in making love to your husband or wife, wouldn't that then be a sacrament if we're going to dumb down the Catholic way of saying it and saying, yeah, we have 7, then isn't each act of sex that? Isn't childbirth that? But then again, that's marriage, childbirth, marriage, sex, childbirth, caring for a child. They're all tied up in the same thing, aren't they? Okay, peace to you. May God save Serbia, Syria, and Ireland, and please keep praying for Jackson.